if I'm going to have anything, I'm going to have it the right way. And if I can't have it the right way, then I don't want it. Because only what you do for yourself and only what you do with integrity is going to last. If you allow people to play these games with you, this is the type of nigga Derek Dixon was. Derek Dixon was one of them niggas, one of them bitches who would try to weasel his way into an opportunity through his sexuality. Okay? And then sue you when it didn't work out in his favor. Okay? I've never had to do it because I've always set myself up from the beginning like that's not how I get down. I don't operate with that. I don't operate in that kind of system. Let's continue. Then, in January of 2024, Perry told Dixon to begin working on a pitch deck for the investors for the pilot. Despite having 8 episodes written, Perry only produced 1, claiming that the president of his company, Michelle Sneed, conveniently misplaced the $1 million that were going to be used for the show. During this time, Perry further solicited Dixon's assistance with other films and projects that Tyler Perry was working on. Once again, Dixon was in a position where he could not say no, but yes, the fuck you could. You had nothing to lose, honey. You sold your pilot. Go on with your life. Write another one. In or around March of 2024, Tyler Perry indicated to Derek Dixon that the individual who was meant to pitch the pilot became depressed and could no longer pitch the show. This was another excuse for the fact that Perry never liked the show and never intended to sell it. Dixon did not get angry and allowed Perry more time to figure things out for the show. Mistakenly, sensing that Dixon had forgiven him, Perry started back up with the harassment. Perry continued to harass Dixon, who was still working on The Oval, and who was still waiting eagerly for Perry to sell Losing It. Perry would tell Dixon that he loved Dixon, that Dixon should be living his life, and that Dixon should be having more sex. Perry even indicated that he would send Dixon's show to Peter Friedlander at Netflix. But all this was just an attempt to remind Dixon of the sword of Damocles hanging over his neck. Later, Perry told Dixon that Netflix turned the show down. Dixon was never contacted by any individuals from Netflix regarding the show, and no sale ever materialized. In or around June of 2024, Perry, sensing that Dixon was getting frustrated about his show not getting off the ground, still concerned about the sexual assault being made public, offered Dixon a position. But how do you know? Because they haven't had real conversation about that on the record. Indicating that, let me go back. Offered Dixon a position as a writer on Perry's shows, indicating that he needed a replacement to continue writing. Now, wasn't there a strike in June of 2024? Was that June? I feel like that was June of 24 when there was a writer's strike and they weren't allowed to write television. It was only then that Dixon woke up and realized, only then, now 3 years to 4 years in, 5 years in, okay? If we put a timeline of this case together, nigga, come on. It was, but the lawsuit also says that he started compiling evidence and assessing his rights way back on that second to last episode of the first season of the Oval. So there's some contradiction here. Number 188 says it was only then that Dixon woke up and realized that Perry was never going to be serious about helping him. Perry was only going to do things for Dixon if Dixon played along with the sexual harassment and assault. Perry was only interested in preventing Dixon from exposing the dark side of Tyler Perry. But didn't Boondocks do that? Perry only cared that people still viewed him as the victim once he once was, even now as he took shape as the victimizer. Dixon became sick to his stomach because now he got himself caught up in some bullshit. Rather than pushing off the advances decades ago, okay, rather than continue down this path, Dixon took the heroic step of reporting the sexual harassment to the EEOC. Yes, you are right, Amanda. It was late because the sexual harassment began in 2019. Only after he realized he wasn't going to get what he wanted out of it, and that the game he was playing, Tyler Perry was going to win, because he is the queen, honey. And the only one that doesn't move is the queen. Only after realizing that he really wasn't talented enough, nor did he have the connections, he made a complaint of sexual harassment to the EEOC. Now, mind you, that complaint of sexual harassment goes along with a lawsuit. In order to file certain work-related lawsuits, you have to make a complaint to the EEOC. So it wasn't like, let's be honest, Derek, it wasn't like he went to the EEOC and was like, I want to file a claim against TP, TPS, TP, papa dabba dooba dabba. He went to a lawyer to file a lawsuit. And the lawyer said, in order to file this lawsuit, you have to make a complaint with the EEOC. That's a part of the legal process. It's required. Okay? Let's be clear. After reporting the sexual harassment, defendants did not make any investigation into the complaint and did not take steps to prevent further harassment from occurring. Because defendants took no action to prevent further assault or harassment, Dixon had to quit his job working on the last season of The Oval. Dixon did so even though he was under contract to finish filming and stood to make close to $400,000. Dixon did not want to be sexually harassed or placed in danger of sexual assault again. Finally, dude. Defendant then retaliated against Dixon. Defendant told Dixon that if he quit and told others why he quit, he would be in breach of his contract. Defendants told Dixon that the only way out was to portray his departure from the show as a medical leave due to the emotional stress caused by the sexual harassment, which he could have done a year ago. The leave of absence was to be paid medical leave. Instead, defendant made the leave of absence unpaid and therefore terminated plaintiff's employment, causing Dixon additional loss of income and insult. Now, we are at page 35 of 46. We are going into the first cause of action, which is quid pro quo, sexual harassment. Okay? I feel like I've said that too much at this point. First cause of action, quid pro quo sexual harassment. I think now's a good time to take a break. Let's do that. Let's take a quick break, quick 5-minute break. We'll be back at 10 minutes to the top of the hour, okay? So I could order my pizza. The nigga made me want pizza. Jesus, I was doing just fine. I'll see y'all in a minute. I hope you guys had a pleasant break. I hope you got to do everything you wanted to do. Let's get back to work. All right, so now we are going into the first cause of action. There's about 11 pages left in this lawsuit, okay? So they've covered all the parties. They've covered the factual allegations, which I feel like was filler, because the first cause of action doesn't start until 35 pages into the lawsuit. But let's go. I gotta turn my fan on. All right, so the first cause of action is quid pro quo sexual harassment against all defendants. The plaintiff incorporates by reference and realleges herein that each and every one of the allegations contained in the preceding and foregoing paragraphs of this complaint as if fully set forth herein. At relevant times, Mr. Dixon was an employee of TPS, and Mr. Perry was responsible for the hiring and firing of Mr. Dixon as defined in California. Alternatively, Mr. Dixon was an actor on the set of a show that Mr. Perry was producing for TPS and was therefore providing services to TPS and Mr. Perry, and they were involved in a business relationship which is subject to this government code you see here, 12940J. Tyler Perry, according to 199, Tyler Perry made unwanted sexual advances to Mr. Dixon. Tyler Perry also made unwanted verbal and physical conduct of a sexual nature. Hold on one second. Okay. The terms of employment, job benefits, and opportunities for continued work, additional pay, and other favorable working conditions were made contingent by words and or conduct on Mr. Dixon's acceptance of Tyler Perry's sexual advances or conduct. I don't see that. Mr. Perry made it clear to Mr. Dixon that he would kill off Mr. Dixon's character if he did not indulge Mr. Perry's sexual harassment. I don't see that either. Mr. Perry made his move and sexually assaulted Mr. Dixon. After Mr. Perry made his move and sexually assaulted Mr. Dixon, Perry offered Dixon the opportunity to make a show if he remained silent about the assault. I don't see that. Furthering the quid pro quo. That was never explicit. Eventually, Mr. Dixon could not continue working given the continued quid pro quo harassment. The work conditions were such that Mr. Dixon was constructively terminated. I don't see that. At all relevant times, Mr. Perry was a supervisor or agent as defined in California law with the ability to affect the terms of Mr. Dixon's employment or work contract. As a further direct and proximate result of defendant's aforementioned conduct, plaintiff suffered physical sickness, physical injuries, body pains, anxiety, worry, embarrassment, humiliation, injury to his professional reputation, mental anguish, emotional distress, and post-traumatic stress disorder in the amount to be proven at trial. Plaintiff is further entitled to recover reasonable attorney's fees, costs, and prejudgment interest in connection with this matter. Defendants committed the acts herein alleged maliciously and fraudulently with the wrongful intention of injuring plaintiff and with the improper and evil motive rising to the level of malice in conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights because the acts taken toward plaintiff were carried out by managerial employees acting in a despicable, deliberate, cold, callous, and intentional manner in order to injure and damage plaintiff. Plaintiff is entitled to recover punitive damages from defendants. So if I understand correctly, and if I remember correctly, punitive damages don't have to be proven. It's just based on what the jury thinks. Okay. The second cause of harassment, and I'm going to do my best to not repeat what was already written, because lawyers like to do that. They love a thick lawsuit. Second cause of action, work environment harassment. And a lot of it is repetitive. Number 211 says Tyler Perry made severe unwanted sexual advances and made unwanted verbal and physical conduct of a sexual nature toward Mr. Dixon, which caused the work environment to be hostile, intimidating, offensive, oppressive, or abusive. A reasonable person in Mr. Dixon's circumstances would have left a long time ago and considered the work environment to be hostile, intimidating, offensive, oppressive, or abusive. I'm just going through to make sure we're not rereading anything. Despicable, deliberate, cold, callous, and intentional. Okay, let's go to the third cause of action. Sexual harassment in defined relationship. I'm just going to read through it for you. Mr. Dixon had a business professional relationship with Mr. Perry and TPS. Mr. Dixon was an actor on shows for Mr. Perry and TPS and entered into a contract to produce a pilot for a show called Losing It and to shop and sell the show. Tyler Perry, the owner of TPS, made sexual advances, solicitations, and sexual requests and demands for sexual compliance. There's no evidence for that, though. Defendant Perry used his authority to coerce and exploit plaintiff to spend time with him on several occasions. Yeah, you kept going too. So the defendant Perry, was he like, okay, this time I'm gonna go and he not gonna grab my booty? So that defendant Perry could physically, psychologically, and or emotionally, through force, manipulation, emotional abuse, intimidation, and retaliation, abuse plaintiff. These acts were done for the defendant Perry's sexual gratification. The plaintiff got sick, and the other employees were cold and callous. And then the workplace gender violence in violation of California Civil Code 552.4 against all defendants. Let's see if I see anything different. Okay, for this purpose, gender violence is a form of sex discrimination and means any of the following. One or more acts that would constitute a criminal offense under state law that has an element, the use, attempted use, or threatened use of physical force against the person or property of another, committed at least in part based on the gender of the victim, whether or not those acts have resulted in criminal complaints, charges, prosecution, or conviction. Number 2, a physical intrusion or physical invasion of a sexual nature under coercive conditions, whether or not those acts have resulted in criminal complaints, charges, prosecution, or a conviction. As alleged herein, Perry violated California Civil Code Section 52.4 in that he engaged in a physical intrusion, a physical invasion of a sexual nature under a coercive condition, even if those acts have not yet resulted in criminal complaints, charges, prosecution, or convictions. Plaintiff got sick. Fifth cause of action, violation of the Bain Act in violation of California Civil Code 52.1 against all defendants. Plaintiff incorporates by reference and realleges herein that each and every one of the allegations contained in the preceding and foregoing paragraphs of this complaint as if fully set forth herein. Civil Code 52.1, the Bain Act, provides that it is unlawful to interfere with the exercise or enjoyment of anyone's rights under the Constitution and laws of this state and the United States by use or attempted use of threats, intimidation, or coercion. I'm going to go to 240. As alleged herein, defendants engaged in severe and outrageous sexual harassment and sexual assaults against the plaintiff. Defendants' acts were calculated to prevent plaintiff from working free from sexual harassment or violence, and defendants' acts were further calculated to prevent plaintiff from reporting defendants' unlawful conduct. I'm just reading through to make sure we don't repeat anything we've already read. Sexual battery against defendant Perry specifically. Plaintiff incorporates, we've read that already. Defendant Perry intended to cause harmful or offensive contact with Mr. Dixon's buttocks. I'm sorry. It's not funny. And other sexual areas on multiple occasions, and a sexually offensive contact with Mr. Dixon resulted. Mr. Dixon did not consent to the offensive contact. Mr. Dixon was harmed and offended by Mr. Perry's conduct, but he kept going back. As a result of Tyler Perry's conduct, Mr. Dixon was damaged in the amount set forth below. As a further direct and proximate result of defendant's aforementioned conduct, plaintiff suffered physical sickness, physical injuries, body pains, anxiety, worry, embarrassment, humiliation, injury to his professional reputation, mental anguish, emotional distress, and post-traumatic stress disorder in the amount to be proven at trial. Plaintiff is further entitled to recover reasonable attorney's fees, cost, prejudgment interest in connection with this matter. Management was despicable. Seventh cause of action, sexual assault specifically against Tyler Perry. That Mr. Dixon reasonably, at number 254, Mr. Dixon reasonably believed he was about to be touched in a harmful or offensive manner. I just don't want to repeat a lot of what we've already read. You know how lawyers like to do. Shout out to my lawyers. Eighth cause of action, negligent hiring, supervision, or retention of an employee. Defendants, I'm at 262. Defendants and each of them knew or should have known that their employees, including but not limited to Tyler Perry, had a history of engaging in unlawful or dangerous conduct that could cause injury to the plaintiff and others, yet failed to take any action to prevent such injury. In fact, it is alleged that Christian Keys and others may have been subjected to the same sexual harassment, and TPS knowingly covered up the harassment to protect Mr. Perry. We are at page 43 of 46, so I think we will have time to take a quick look at that Christian Keys video. TPS allegedly took actions against Mr. Keys, including but not limited to paying Mr. Keys a certain sum of money and threatening him if he disclosed Perry's sexual harassment. Ninth cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress against all defendants. Defendant's conduct exceeded all possible bounds of decency. Number 272 goes on to say, defendant acted with the intent and knowledge that plaintiff suffered emotional distress due to their inexcusable and outrageous conduct. Tyler Perry, if any of this is true, you should have kept your motherfucking hands to yourself. You know how this game is played. Now, this nigga done told you he wasn't gonna let nobody fuck him unless they could get him an Oscar. Number 10, retaliation, FEHA. Before taping of season 7 of The Oval, Derek Dixon made a formal complaint about the sexual harassment he was experiencing from Tyler Perry to defendants through his attorney. That complaint was protected activity. After reporting the sexual harassment, defendants did not make any investigation into the complaint and did not take any steps to prevent further harassment from occurring. What was Tyler Perry supposed to investigate himself? Because, I mean, it was TPS. It was Tyler Perry Studios. Instead, defendant told plaintiff that he should take a medical leave of absence from the show due to emotional distress caused by the sexual harassment and not report any of this to his coworkers, the real reason for his absence. Plaintiff was expecting the leave of absence to be paid medical leave. Based on what? Instead, defendant made the leave of absence unpaid and therefore terminated plaintiff's employment. Plaintiff stood to make around $400,000 for his role in season 4 of The Oval. At all relevant times, defendants and each of them and or their managerial employees or agents knew or reasonably should have known that unless they intervened to protect plaintiff and adequately supervise, prohibit, control, regulate, and discipline and or other penalize the conduct of defendants' employees as alleged herein, other defendants and defendants' employees perceive the conduct and omission as being ratified and condoned. Prayer for relief. Here's where the money comes in. And this is the last page. Plaintiff prays for judgment as follows. For special, general, punitive, and compensatory damages according to proof at trial. For reasonable attorney's fees, expert witness fees, and other litigation expenses pursuant to law. For injunctive relief where the court deems appropriate, and for all other relief the court deems appropriate and just, for a total amount of damage, including the punitive damages of $260 million. Respectfully submitted, June 13, 2025, by Jonathan J. Delshad, Esquire, at the law offices of Jonathan J. Delshad, P.C., attorney for the plaintiff, Derek Dixon. And that is the lawsuit. Not just the nitty, but the gritty too. Not just the nitty, honey, but the gritty too. I'm going to see real quick if I can find the video from Christian Keys, because I hadn't planned it. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I think this is it. It's long as fuck, but we're not gonna watch the whole thing. A year ago. Yep. Hold on. Let me bring it in. Or we might watch the whole thing. Let's see. It depends on how you guys feel. Thank you, Lisa. We might watch the whole thing. It just depends on how you guys feel. I probably won't do a lot of interrupting here, but I will honor fair use as it goes. Hold on 1 second. Let me get it in right. Okay. So, it's interesting because a lot of what we just read in this lawsuit, we have actually seen in the Boondocks, haven't we? Some of them Boondocks episodes that alluded to Tyler Perry literally sound just like this.